Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
I am a working man, I get things done. Work for the Holy Ghost, work for the Son.
And you're listening to Live from the Path, coming to you from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper.
Here we go.
Was it what?
I don't know. I just start keeping a tally on how many times I have to come in here and apologize for my behavior from last week.
Oh, dear.
Based on my wife's listening to the show.
What did you say?
She said I came off like an arrogant turd. Like I thought I was. She used better words than this, but like that. Like I'm some kind of super Christian who should teach everybody, and I have a giant mistrust of other Jesus people. And I'm like, dang it!
This is why I told my wife 10 years ago we quit the show.
Yeah.
And I'm going out smoking and drinking.
It's the safer thing to do.
It's like she knew that wasn't my heart on it, but she goes, "You just can't control your own mouth. You come off like this dirt." And I'm like, "Oh man!" And so I need this kind of refinement in my life because I listened back to the show while I was mowing or something, and I'm like, I don't know.
Nailed it.
I felt like it was
good all the way home. Oh yeah.
I felt like it was an honest representation of my thoughts, but it turns out the honest representation of me is some kind of jerk, and I'm like, oh no. Oh. So anyway, look, I said what I said. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do it. However I said it, I'm sure that I didn't mean it in whatever, like this horrible way. But if it came off that way, I mean, these are things that need refined out of me. So, you know what I'm saying? I repent. I'll have to do better next time.
No, I think it was right. You can go back and hit it up. Go listen. What was last week's show called?
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. Actually, yeah, I affirm. Also, hey, before we get kicking off the show, we got like one main topic here and some advice, and then we'll let you go. But in case you're interested, if you go out to tv.livefromthepath.org, there's a 24/7 TV station running Live from the Path episodes. Actually, there's a number of channels. And so the thing I was trying to do, and it's debatable whether I'm successful at this, but I thought like one of the things that has shifted in like a streaming service culture is people don't take in a moment at the same time. Only like the Super Bowl and the World Cup are people like, or Caitlin Clark. These are the three things where like people are watching it at the same time. But like, no one watches Night Court at the same time anymore, or discusses, the end of St. Elmo's Fire or whatever the things are. And so, or Designing Women for Mike. And so, I think, I just thought like, I don't know, like what if you could experience Live from the Path like you would have in 1975? And so anyway, if you go to tv.livefromthepath.org, this is best done on like a laptop or something. It's okay on the phone, but it's not great. But, you can go. I think it's channel 3 or 4 has like Live from the Path full episodes, and like you're watching the same thing everybody's watching. Okay, so you don't get to go pick. It's not YouTube. You don't get to go pick one. You get to watch that. You can, if you hit the channel button there, it'll scroll through the channels. There's a weather station. It'll tell you what the weather's like at the studio. You can play the donkey. There's a donkey game there. It's not a good game. You can't. There's no points. It goes on forever. There's like a reels channel that will play the various reels and stuff that we have, and there's one for musical performances. And so anyway, go check it out, tv.livefromthepath.org, and you can kind of enjoy experiencing Live from the Path with someone else. Like if you're watching it and you're like, hey, this is good, you can say turn to channel tv.livefromthepath.org, channel 4, and they can watch it with you.
Whatever happened to our app, Ben? Couldn't this be a great option on our mobile app?
Well, here's the thing. It's not a good mobile experience to start. But secondly, I got all the way through the mobile app, and then you got to do all the submissions, like to the stores and stuff. And I'm not passing the security checks, and so I have to redo the app to pass the security checks. So this is the problem. I do intend to fix it. It's just it's like number 8 on the list.
Yeah.
Of
Got a
things to
full-time
do.
job.
I would like to move it up, frankly, but I probably won't get to it.
We can get one of our engineers on that.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, you're listening to Live from the Path. Here's what we got. Here's the big question for tonight that I want to get to. It's like a combination of things. It delves a little bit into Dan's recent experiences in Africa, and some of what we talked about, I want to say a few weeks ago, which is like, why are there? How do you translate some of these high point moments in your faith? Things like camps and Promise Keepers and like big conferences or whatever. Like, what causes that not to translate often into your normal everyday life, and should it be that way? And what might contribute to it, or smoothen that out a little bit? And I think that has some relevance to a question. I was listening back to a few old episodes, and I was checking out the Life from the Path TV channel, and it was playing some old stuff, and it made me think about Mike. And kind of these are imprecise buckets, but if I look at the last 10 years of programs, I would say the first 5 years, Mike predominantly landed on, I think, found comfort in this notion of like just everyday faithfulness, sheep in, sheep out. We don't get to see all the things going on. Just walk, basically faithful in the means, God will handle the ends type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then over the last 5 years, these aren't opposite necessarily, but like I think there's a lot more comfort in, it's not just sheep in, sheep out. Like, are you actively listening for what God is doing? And are you following that and participating in those types of things, which may be sheep in, sheep out, or maybe something wildly different? And so I want to propose to Mike how I might think about, do those go together? Is that a change, or do they go together, and in what way? And so I want you to think about that, and and I actually think maybe that goes to all of this in some ways combines to a certain extent. And then other than that, we'll do some advice on Dear Life from the Path, and then we'll cut you loose. Okay, so the one of the questions, and like I know we've been circling around this a little bit over the past number of weeks, is if kind of high point religious experiences, and why don't we feel like this all the time? And Mike, I think maybe let's start with you on something we were talking about before the show started. Is like if you think about some of these focused times of interacting with Jesus, things that feel like, when I say high point, it's not shallow. It's like you just like everything's turned on and turned up, and
it's real too. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's a fake drug, that like the church service or the worship night or the camp experience or the revival, right? Like it's not like we're saying, look, this is the fake high, and then you got to go back to regular life. Like it can be for sure real, right? And so like I think ultimately the question is like is there a reason that this is not like this experience should our walk with the Lord always feel this way?
Yeah.
Or like, is it wrong if it never feels this way outside of these gatherings?
Yeah. Okay. And so if I think about that, like, I guess, have you come in, is it possible that with a lot of these types of experiences, it pulls you out of your everyday life, but like there is like explicit worship. Like a lot of times you're spending time like focused worship, praise to Jesus. You're spending time studying the Word, talking to people about it. Like, these are things that are accessible to us on a daily basis, Mike. So do you think, is it maybe it's wrong to think of them as like completely disparate? Is it oftentimes that some of these more event type of things, we're just simply more focused on the things we could be doing every day?
Yeah, I think it's because it's intentional. Right, like, and it's undistracted for most of the time, right? Like when I say that I worshipped in a day, most of the time it's while I'm driving. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or like I got home and I just had the robot burn some tunes or whatever, but I'm feeding the dog and doing all the stuff. Like when you go to these things, like you're just worshiping. And you're surrounded by 10 other people, 12 other people, 100 other people that are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with like we fight in modern day. I'm reading my Bible stuff on my phone because this thing is a distraction machine.
Yeah.
Even if I want to do it before work, right? Like I like my Lectio app that's on my phone, helps me pray and like gives me a different way of looking at my prayer life a little bit. But like, I'm not smart enough to set up like, don't be disturbing me. But because I'm like, what if there's an emergency? I don't want to be like, I was reading my Lectio, leave me be. But like, at these other experiences, I don't even know where my phone is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. And so like, apart from it being what it feels like this like magic sauce, and there is something about the body of Christ coming together as one body
Yeah.
with all the elbows and arms and eyeballs and all that stuff, right?
An anticipation.
That's right.
that you
God
come
did
with, yeah.
this, and it is meant, I believe, to feel, to engage your soul in a way that is also engaging your body, because God does those things. So spiritually, yes, 2 or more are gathered. Okay, this is the thing, right? Like, we're all together, and it should feel differently. So, but the major question is like, if we're not having those same experiences at home, we're always like, well, how am I supposed to recreate this atmosphere of all these people and all this worship and like high energy and people speaking into my life and all the stuff? And like, I think the truth of the matter is it's probably closer than we think, but we just can't seem to find the intentionality in it. You know, we can't seem to set apart actual worship time. Like, that's all you're doing. Like, you just went into a room, turned on loud music if you want, raised your hands and worshiped by yourself, singing away, because you're like, this is borderline ridiculous. This only makes sense on Sunday morning when I'm with everybody else. This worshiping by myself, my wife is in the next room. My kids are probably going, yeah, that's Dad worshiping again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels ridiculous out of the context of which the feeling that you had where it was. And now it's the same people. Like, when I was younger, people would be like, I go to my prayer closet or my prayer room, and I'm like, oh, here we go, Mr. Prayer Closet. I'm like, this sounds so stupid. Here I am 20 years later. I'm like, yeah, I got a room. I got one. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it made me think about, so Dan, I want you to talk about, you just came back from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And there was an experience there that I think it sounds like they said, hey, man, we've never had this kind of thing happen before. And so maybe tell us a little bit about that, because I wonder if I think there may be a relevance to this story to some of what we've just been talking about.
Right. It's a historic church there that's been around 75 years or so, which in that area has been a long time for a church. And it's kind of the center of this mission. A lot of things come out of this area, and we've never done anything at this particular church. So we said, well, we went there, we did a revival, we did a vacation Bible school for a few days with the kids, so had hundreds of kids all over the place. And then there was a Saturday night, and a bunch of teens at this particular service. They all came in, just pouring in. And they worshiped for a while. It was exciting. It was loud. I don't know if I've heard that loud of like. And this, like, they don't have a band. They just have them.
Yeah,
right?
it's them. They're
just
cutting
going
it up.
at it. I tried to video some, and it did not give the feel that just being there was. So there was a lot of that going on. And then I got up and preached and talked about covenant and God and everything that he did for us at the cross and is fulfilling the promise that he made Abraham way back in Genesis 15 and is kind of trace that through when Abraham was doubting. You said I'd have a child. You said I'd have land. You said, all these great things. I'm going to be a blessing to the world. And it'd been 10, 15 years since God promised him that. And he's like, are you really going to do this? And God said, yeah, let me show you here. And he makes this contract with him. Give me these animals. He gets the animals, cuts them in half, separates them, so you got this bloody mess in the middle and the carcasses, and that was called cutting a contract. Something I'd never really read before in the past, right? And then you see that as you start really digging into that, you see it happen over and over again. It happens as the Israelites are crossing the Red Sea and the waters separate. Well, they saw the water as a god. It wasn't not a god in the water, but it was a god. Yeah. And so it's almost like a picture of God cutting this animal in half, separating it, and they all walk through. And he's adjusting the contract. They go to Mount Sinai, and there's a law now given. And it's like, here's what they would do with the contract. You both walk through, and you say, this is what you will do, this is what I will do, and if one of us don't do our parts, we'll die. Yeah. So either side. And so it's getting adjusted here. They get the actual law. Here's what I expect from you. And if you don't follow the law, you die, right? All right, that goes on for several hundred years, and I'm just kind of skimming over. You get to the cross, and Jesus has come, and no one has been able to fulfill the law, fulfill the promise. No one has kept the law, and so everyone has to die. And finally, God said, "Well, I said if I would not bless the world through you, I would die." In that original contract in Genesis 15. So here I am. Here's Jesus. what's all the announcements? A Savior has been born. You know, the angel comes. You know, all of that, and he lives perfectly, fulfills the law as far as he did not break the law.
Yeah,
what
right,
I'm trying to
right.
say. You know what I'm trying to say. And then he goes to the cross, and there he is, in between two carcasses with a big bloody mess there, basically saying, "Here it is. I'm going to bless you have blessed the world through me dying, God, and Abraham. It's the Abraham promise." So I kind of explained that whole thing in a little more eloquently than I am right now.
Yeah.
and then you just give an invitation. Hey, this blessing's for you. You know, it's for you, and it's here for today. And 45 people came forward. They just kept pouring. They just kept pouring in. They put up a bench and had people sit in the bench up at the top of the stage there, and they had to keep adding benches. And the next morning we had these baptisms, and we just one after another. They'd come in from both sides, and John, a friend of mine, was there with me. And we just kept baptizing all these people, and the preacher. I got up there as we were kind of closing things up. He said, "We've never experienced anything like this in this church." And I was just like, "What?" Like, what? I don't know. It just blew me away to hear that. Just to see God move in the hearts of those people. It was pretty fantastic thing. I did the same sermon at the church here in America on Easter. And everybody said, "Well, that was nice.
That was great." Okay, so like that's actually the bit.
Yeah.
Because as I listened to that story, and I got to hear it before the show too, and so even the second time, I'm like, how awesome. Like, people hear the promises that God keeps and the way that he keeps them and how much he loves them and goes, I want in. I want in on that for now and forever. And to see their response and be able to physically take part in that, both as the person who gets to baptize and the person that's baptizing, like just, it's elevating, like it's encouraging. It's just, there's energy to it. And then you think about, you give the same sermon at Easter, and Prim and us proper folk around here are just kind of nice job,
good job,
nice
make a ham later.
Yeah, and so, but here's the thing: is what is kind of an event, if you think about like your Zimbabwe situation. By all functions is the exact same thing we do all the time. Yeah. We praise together, we teach good news from the scriptures, we call people to respond. And so what is the actual difference? It's not that you taught a different sermon. There's an energy to that situation, and I wonder then if some of the difference is like, well, there's a focus to it. Are we like in some situations we can get rid of the noise, but also like, is it possible that like we are simply participating in places where there's not an energy for what God is doing, right? And so like where people intentionally gather at a camp, or like when you buy, who goes to like the Promise Keepers event? People who want to be there, people who are willing to sacrifice something, whether it's money or time or travel costs or hotel or whatever. You like pre-filtered that you end up in rooms with people who want to be at this thing, who aren't just doing it. This goes back to a show, I think, a couple months ago, where like, some of this, we're probably just participating in like a cultural Christianity-ish. Like it's a shape of what it kind of looks like to follow Jesus, but it may or may not always be following Jesus. And so like, I wonder if some of the prime differences isn't as much all the things that we're doing or the complete lack of noise or whatever. It's being with and surrounded by people who are there while you're there. The energy that comes with people following Jesus or wanting to hear more about Jesus. And then that I think starts to translate. Like, do you start to see that at your home, at your church experiences, or even just your everyday life? You meet with your dudes on Thursday. Sometimes that is the most energizing thing because there are 4 other dudes who just want to follow Jesus, and that's jazzy. And so I just, is it possible that some of these situations where it feels like it's a little bit a dud, like maybe either God's not stirring the water over there or people aren't interested in it. And maybe that's where the energy's at.
Jesus had situations, to his hometown. Yeah. Like,
I don't think so.
Miracles. Meh. So,
Yeah.
And he knew enough not to waste his own time.
Yeah.
He's like, I won't be doing any miracles here.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't want. There's a little bit in me that's trying to be cautious because I think I want to be careful that we don't just go, "Hey, I was jazzed about something. I said something I thought was going to help, and it didn't, and so I'm out of here." Like that's not the action I'm asking or thinking about. But it's not. It also may be like when Jesus sends the disciples out. There is a notion of like, "Hey." Like tell the good news, and if they don't want it, shake the dust and go. And I wonder, is it possible that like we've got pockets culturally or church situations where like, I don't want to say a propped up corpse, but that's what came to my mind. It's just like. It looks like it's all the things that are faithful to Jesus. And like maybe it's just because we're saturated, like everyone is actually doing that. But like I wonder if one of the drivers is that like, are we actually in situations where we are surrounded by or at least partnered with people who are jazzed to be part of the work, and that in itself is the energizing factor. You want to be in more situations like that.
Okay, help me theologically here because you stumbled me and then I came back to it.
Okay.
So like the opposite of how I would usually look at it would be sending the disciples out saying, say your things and whoever accepts them, accepts them.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought, man, that's actually not how I look at that most of the time. But the disciples would not have had the indwelling presence of the Holy Spirit.
That's true.
Just ask them to do that.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
Okay, so that's that. Okay, that brought me back around just to make sure I'm thinking about this right.
Okay.
Because like the thing that I would say, this is the metaphor. This is the metaphor that I keep in my head that I think helps me try to, or it can at least explain what I think anyway. Is like I like to imagine that like there's like a backyard, and like God is sitting at the dining room table, and the sliding door is open, and I can always hear that my father's talking, but he's not talking to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out running the rings and playing the slide, and like and basically I can do what I want because God's house runs a certain way, and so like His rules and His attitude and His character apply to the backyard, and so I can run the rings, I can say the things, but like I always have one ear open to hear if Dad's calling to talk to me for a minute because he wants to go outside the house, and do work. And like, I don't leave the house really if he's not going. I only go if he's going because it doesn't make any sense for me to leave a perfectly run backyard that my dad has set up for me. It seems like this is the place to be. But sometimes Dad has work he wants to do in the darkness outside of his house. And he goes, Mike, I'm going to go do this. I'm inviting you to come with me, And so like, and the reason that metaphor kind of sticks with me is because like sometimes we get lost in like the very specific questions is like, what is God inviting me into? What things do I have to ask him? Like, are we down to the breakfast cereal choices or what job I have or what person I'm dating or, where I live? Or do I start this ministry or do I tell this one guy about this? Do I take this guy to coffee? Do I wear this shirt? It might stir up the things. And like, there's a lot of stuff in there that like sometimes the shirt mattered and it's a father says, hey, Mike, I need to talk to you about that shirt conversation. And sometimes I just wore the shirt because I don't know, I'm in the backyard and it seems like it's okay. It's not a big deal, but because only he knows the things that have consequence and I don't. The rest of them were just guessing. Right. And I think they're like, to answer a little bit of maybe that question that you were going to ask me is like, I think like as my relationship with God has matured a little bit, I was comfortable with the carpet bombing and just going, whatever I think of or whatever sounds good or like other people are doing it. So it can't be like God can't be against it. Why don't we try it? Why not? Let's try everything. Everything is worth a try, as far as I was concerned. And so like if God wasn't inviting me in to do anything specific, I would have told you that like there was very few times where I felt like God was inviting me into something because frankly, I was not in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Like I was probably at my own house, just looking over the fence every once in a while and saying, yeah, I don't see him moving around. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I'll model my backyard to look like his, cause like it runs pretty good and I believe he's good. So this is fine. But like, I think as I have matured, and I don't know that this is bulletproof, and I don't know that like I would say, hey, preach this every Sunday, but like, I like to believe that God loves me enough to where if I'm in his backyard and I have an ear open for the things for him talking at that table, when he says, hey son, I'm inviting you into this thing, that I recognize his voice and I can know that it's his character, like something that he would do, right? I would know the difference between someone painting a picture or like disguising a voice that sounds like his opposed to his own, because I keep one ear open for that. And like some weeks, months, years, he's letting me just hang out in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? We're running the rings and hitting the slide and doing all the things. And then there's been times where it's been like, I mean, every other week I feel like, Mike, I need to talk to you again, and I got to go in there and see what Dad's doing, you know? And so like, that's the metaphor that I would use to like kind of explain how I think about it. Is there anywhere theologically that's terrible?
Not holistically. One of the things I was just thinking through is that like there are certainly examples within the New Testament that says, look, they waited. Well, that the Spirit said something to a praying or fasting group of people, and then that caused them to do a thing. Mm-hmm. There are remarkably fewer examples where there was like a thing where it was like we did not do anything until the Spirit told me, or to the extent, or till we knew that God was doing a thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think like this is where I think it probably takes some nuance, right? So like one of the problems that I would think of as a backyard problem is feeding the Hellenistic Jews. You know what I'm saying? Who weren't getting fed. Yeah. Like, Dad didn't say to do that, but like his character is feed people who need food. Yeah. So this is a safe background. This is a safe backyard decision to me. Doesn't make, now if God would have said, hey, if he said, son, I'm purposely not feeding those people, that's a dad conversation, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so that's actually that in some ways reintroduces a level of complication isn't the word I want, but like, because if you say, well, the character of the king should extend, his kingdom is designed to extend. Jesus says to go. So his primarily direction is I expect you to make disciples. I expect you to go out and do the things. His direction is not like wait for me to tell you where to go specifically. It was more like these things were more broad than that. But I think the notion of it right, which is like the things that are aligning to the character of God. Like I just no risks in these things to me. Now, but to the extent that you go, okay, I got my playbook, I'm just going to go do the things, and you stop listening for Dad, I think I think that is a problem. I think you're going to be less effective in those situations. It's not sinful, it's not wrong, but you are less effective, and frankly, it means you don't always get to participate in the things that God is doing because you are going about doing your own things, and it is a way to create a deafness, I guess, is probably the better metaphor.
Yeah, I think like I think you're basically saying the same thing, or what I'm intending to mean. Yeah. About hanging out in the backyard. I think what happens is, like, once again, if I had to describe a younger version of me, right, I saw how the backyard worked. And so I'm like, well, we'll just do whatever's happening in the backyard, right? Not to the point where, like, I think that go is a directive, right? That's across the board. Where you go matters, especially if Dad wants to talk to you about it. And if you're flat out not listening, or like you are, it is not a concern to you or you think Dad will never speak into this, I'm just going to do that. And here's the reason that matters is because God works in humility. And so literally every day, if you're approaching him in humility that goes, I chose to go to Asia, and God goes, mistake. Please turn around. Humility turns you around. Yeah, right? Yeah. Where not humility puts you trying to barge into Asia and do a thing that God is not. And I think where this conversation used to confuse me is I'm like, well, why is God not always calling everybody all the time into relationship with him, right? And I think the answer is he is actually doing that. He just happens to know when and how that will work for you, or where you would receive that. right? So like, I think that like, I think we talked about this a couple, 3 shows ago, where we talk about like when we're praying about something and we're like, man, I started a prayer 10 years ago for a guy. And then 10 years later, that guy comes to know Jesus. And like, my first thought is, God, thank you for being faithful to me today. And I always feel, and like, I just started to feel like God's like, I've been faithful to you for 10 years. Like, I've been working on this for, it's not like he's like toiling in a workshop, right? But he's like, you wanted me to do this day 2. Day 2, they wouldn't have met me. All the things, like I know them. I'm the same guy. They're not. And so I love them enough to know when I can speak into their life and when they're open to knowing me. And you don't know that. So you would always ask for day 1. And I always knew it was going to be year 10. You know what I'm saying? So
actually, I think one of the key, I'm trying to make sure this doesn't feel, it's not a cop-out. I actually think this is the right way to think about it. So like your Asia example is a good one because that's Paul's Mysia example, right? Was it wrong for Paul to go to Mysia because he thought they needed to hear about Jesus? No. Was it wrong that God stopped him? No. Was it wrong that on day 2 you said, Father, I want you to intervene in this man's life that he may be rescued? No.
Yeah.
Is it fine that God, like, is it righteous, obviously, that God waited for 10 years? Of course. Right. It's like, so I think the thing that you, to capitalize on there is the humility part. Is that like, I don't think we need to walk trepidatiously in the shadow of Jesus under the provision of the Spirit. Like, I think you should wake up in boldness, going about the Father's business. I think as you do that humbly, you will not miss the Spirit moving. You will not miss your Father talking. The minute that you take it under your own steam, which as I start to think about ministry failures and like things that get perverted away from following Jesus and start to become a lot what look like Jesus shadowed human institutions, it's when you actually stopped listening to Jesus and started taking like the rough direction and going, oh yes, I'm supposed to do all these things. Like that's actually it's a humility problem that causes you to miss it. But like the opposite issue becomes like I have actually often heard this, especially I think if I think about over the last 5 to 10 years, is like there's someone who like obviously needs someone to come alongside them and we go, I just don't know if I haven't heard from God that I'm supposed to do that. I'm like, I think maybe you're supposed to do it. Like, and like, it's not that God, to your point, it's not, sometimes the t-shirt did matter. Sometimes it's totally not you, and that's fine too. It can't be 50 people. And I think God would tell you that, even if I didn't see that in my life or you didn't see it in somebody else's. But like, I think our inclination is to go, if God gave me the Spirit, why am I acting like I don't have the Spirit? And so like, I think we should be able to go out in confidence and boldness and in humility. If you do those 3 things, you're going to be fine. It's just going to be fine.
I think we get a little bit, it takes energy, it takes effort and focus to be in prayer, to have a listening ear. And sometimes it's easier just to do what the other people are doing, right? I mean, Paul goes into a city and then he says, I'm going to go down to the river. And he meets a gal and he talks to her and then she comes to faith. Then you don't read that Peter and James said, hey, we're going to start going to rivers. They also were listening like, okay, God, where are we sending us? Yeah. You know, and there was an individuality there. It would have been okay if they went to a river. But you know, I think that's what you're saying, right? It's you listen, you pray, you look for guidance, you look for open doors, and but you keep walking. And so sometimes there's a closed door, so you'll go to another door and see if it's open or not. And so I think if there's the again, risk is too heavy, but like, you know, if you go out and go, look, I'm a person who I want to share good news to somebody. I just don't think Jesus is going to come slap you on the hand. It's like, not that guy. Yeah. Right. And now, but to your point though, like if you are not listening or trying to push something on your own, it may be fruitless.
Yeah,
it may be ineffective.
Because if Paul, like that, Paul's a great example, right? He approached Mysia, and then like without humility and without listening for your Father's voice, he goes, and he just goes ahead and goes, and like nothing happens. Whatever Paul thought was going to happen, it didn't happen. And like the guy that like the 10-year praying guy, like whoever God sent to interact with that man 10 years in, I'm really glad that he had an ear to listen to where the Father was sending him that day, whatever that was, you know? And so like, I think you're right. I like it feels like there has to be like, they have to be on opposite ends of the spectrum. There's either a sit, wait, do nothing until the Father speaks, right? So the metaphor for that is no longer backyard. You're just sitting on the deck looking at a truck, hoping God gives you something to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
And then the other end is like you just do all the things that you've come to your heart, right? And like God will bless it because you're doing it in earnestness. And God's like, yeah, that's under your own steam. And frankly, you've just been spinning your wheels forever. And so like the reason that it should feels like it's a balance is because it's like any other relationship you have, right? There's a balance in it because there's a relationship there to be had. And sometimes this is important and sometimes this decreases and sometimes this goes this, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's why the relationship is important. And to exactly everything that Dan said, humility feels like maybe we almost teach it as ease. You know what I'm saying? We teach it as just give up, just surrender, and God will puppet you around. But humility takes work because you have to battle you back. Like you're literally fighting your kingdom against his every day. You have to fight for that humility. It doesn't come it's not a spiritual gift. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to choose to choose humility, which means that like, I think I was trying to explain this to somebody earlier this week where like, there's not one time that my wife has ever asked me to take the garbage out that I wanted to do it. Like literally never. Not one time did I think, well, hot dang. I can't believe this opportunity has arisen. Some days I feel that way about reading the scriptures.
Yeah.
Some days I feel that way about talking to God. And it's not that I don't want to talk to him because I'm mad at him or I feel like we're apart. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk to another human either. I just want to not talk to anybody, right? And so like it's not a faith problem, it's a Mike Kingdom problem where I'm like, I just don't want to. And so like, but I've never failed to take that garbage out when my wife has asked me to, right? Because it's important to our relationship and my kingdom goes down and I honor her by doing this. And like I feel the same way sometimes when we're describing like people are like, you should be on fire. You should be excited about your Bible reading. And like, there's times that I have been. There's times that the Holy Spirit has torn me up by myself reading a thing. I'm like, I've read this 75 times in my whole life. And today, this verse is just wiping me clean. You know what I'm saying? And it has totally happened. And other days I'm like, I am doing this because I don't know what else to offer you today. All I can do is suppress my own kingdom and show up here because I don't know why.
Yeah, actually, I like that. The garbage example is an interesting one because, like, you know, what you don't do is you don't pray about it and go, Lord, should I take out the garbage?
Yeah.
You know this serves your wife. You know it's a perfectly good thing to do, and it is honoring to her. And so I kind of think about it the same way. Is it like, if I know God's heart is for the world, that they would come to know him. I just like it is honoring to him to do the things that you know he wants. And so at the same, I guess that goes back into the, like, you're not subverting God's direction, character, or whatever to act like he does. You live like he is your father. He's given you the ability to do this. He has otherwise pointed you to go do these things. And so like it's perfectly fine that you see the world the way he asks you to see them and then become his representative on the earth. That's what humans were created to go do. It's just, so if that balance is right and we don't tussle over that, but then you're listening to God because like, it's not, to your point, it's not a like either I go cut my own cloth or I sit and wait and listen to God. Like as I go doing the things of which God has crafted me and given me the Spirit to go do, of course the Spirit is in communication with the Father, praying on my behalf and providing guidance and the Father is talking. And for heaven's sakes, I want that to go listen. Those things are not in contention. They are both actually part of humble service and following Yahweh.
Yeah, because and the spending time with God in his word, in worship, in prayer, right? Like you can do that without humility too.
Yeah.
And you're not in the backyard anymore, friend. You're just not. You've built a backyard that looks very similar and looks like it's holding up. And like, that's actually the risk. The risk is that you can either, the times that I found myself actually separated from being able to know the whispers of my Father, even if I can't make out what he's saying. I can hear him talking to somebody in there, but it ain't me. But when I can't hear him is when I've left that backyard, because I thought, I don't want to read this Bible today.
Ooh, actually, that's a really great way to think about the Pharisees. Everything that they're going about as the right shape of saying, okay, we heard what God said, we set up all the institutions to make sure we're doing those things, and then when the Father was speaking in front of, when the word from the Father comes, they do not recognize, hear it, or understand it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah. And they cannot fathom that. How could this be disrupting the thing that they believe? Well, they took it under their own counsel and stopped listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's the thing. Because what makes us, I think cautious is the right word, of people are like, I heard from God. I'm cautious when I think that. I will throw that through 7 filters because I'm like, I don't know. Or other people say it, or like, I'm like, here we go. You know what I'm saying? And because it makes us nervous. Because people are claiming a power that if you actually heard from God, whatever you said, I'm going to do. So it better be right.
I tell you this, I would say, of the last 50 times I've heard someone say, I heard from God, 20 of them were to say, he said I should get a divorce.
True.
These are the reasons where you're like, I don't know, man. I don't that often, though. Like,
no, you're right.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is what makes people nervous.
God said I should be in this relationship. Okay.
It's always that. It's always like God said I should be in a relationship with this person.
I think I've had some conversations like with some people here in the last couple of weeks where like they have claimed quite a few things have come from God, and they're all conflicting with each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Like one required an ultimate, like this big sacrifice to do this thing, and then halfway through this other opportunity came up, and he's like, God's really leading me this direction. And I'm like, what happened to the first thing? Like that God was, he's like, yeah, it was just for a time. I'm like, okay. And then another one shows up, and I'm like, all right, now listen, I need you to be more careful on what you're like. Oh, I don't know. I like the thing is like, it gets very hard because I'm like, now you prove to me that you heard from God, because what I'm seeing is a lot of conflict and a lot of good things for you, and not a whole lot of his things getting done. So that's hard for me to see, because once again, like we could tell tree by fruit, you know, right? And so like it looks like we just hopping trees hoping that there's fruit available. So I think overall that like when people start saying like they hear from God, like we do have a filter on that goes, okay, I kind of need to see the rest of your life right now. Because if you're saying this from your own backyard, I'm not interested. If you're saying it from his, I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tell me what he said. You know, now I really want to know. So yeah, but that goes actually. It ties in with some of the thing we were talking about earlier. Is like the experience that we're having at some of these bigger events, right? You're doing all the things that like we would normally recommend you do anyway. Set apart intentional time with God. Stay in his backyard. Listen for his voice. Hang around with a community that also loves him, right? Don't allow a bunch of distraction and wild animals back there to tear the place up. That's AKA sin. You know what I'm saying? Like this, like that's what's happening at these events. And then you go home and go, why isn't it the same? Well, you know why it ain't the same. You're not approaching it the same either. You know what I'm saying? Like your relationship is based on like events that force you conveniently to like do all the things that you had the opportunity to do at home, and you just could not find the time or the excitement for, you know?
Yeah. So if I think then to maybe summarize where it feels like, Mike, your response was on the question, like, does a notion of like just like following Jesus in the everyday things, sheep in, sheep out, it doesn't have to be something wild, like just everyday business, versus listen for God and whatever he's doing, and then follow that fiercely. Both of those are true.
Yeah.
They go together.
I think my caution on the first one, because it was true for me, is that like, I think there is lots of sheep in and sheep out. But like, I find it very hard to believe that God called you into relationship with him to not do his main thing, which was go and make disciples. And so if he called you to be saved and indwelled you with the Holy Spirit, and then you're just sheep in and sheep out every day, I'm not saying that it might just be one time in your whole life God's like, yeah, I've been holding this dude here because I have a thing for him at sheep in, sheep out when he's like 72 or something. You know, I'm not saying that that's not impossible, but like if the entire reason that God created a world, sent Jesus, and gave the Holy Spirit was to bring people to him in relationship with him, and you have no part in that, I'd ask him. I would ask him, like, am I listening to you? Because that's weird.
Yeah, I guess maybe the interesting bit is we maybe run a risk of saying God only acts in events. Because, like, let's say you're it's perfectly reasonable to believe that someone's gig is, again, sheep in, sheep out. But, like, part of sheep going out is you run into the baker and you visit with the other guy who's also got sheep or whatever. And it's not like, to your point, I find it's not fathomable to me that the Father's business does not have any intersection with your business.
Yeah.
Like, that can't be. But as opposed to thinking of either I deal with the sheep or I go chase whatever God is doing, and it has to be somewhere that's not the sheep, that's not implicitly true. Like, there's plenty of people, like, most people live a patterned life.
Yeah, and it can't be, right? The disciples have no town to go to if no one builds the town. So someone's got to be the baker. Someone's got to be the carpenter. Someone's got to get the straw from somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Like, you cannot have a pinball that does not exist in some realm with a static pinball machine.
Yeah.
You can't have 85 pinballs just scheming around everywhere. And so I guess that's an interesting thing as we think about the New Testament, we think about the disciples themselves. We get the stories of the guys who traveled. We get the stories of the pinballs, but they're functioning in a world of which everyone else is, like, going about the sheep in, sheep out business.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's still righteous to raise your kids. It's still righteous to be a baker who works in the same town. Like, there is no prescription that I can see in Scripture that would say that there aren't a million flavors of life of which God says, I need all kinds to do all things for all glory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the only thing that will drive whether you're in the right shape of that or decision thing in your life is whether you're listening to the Father. That's how you'll know. It won't be because your pastor knows better than you. It won't be because your uncle came up with a good idea or your friends are all doing this thing or that thing. Like, it could be that they're a pinball. I hate the word season, but, like, whatever, for a time, they're a pinball, and it's not wrong that you're the sheep in, sheep out guy. If one, you should be faithful in all the means and be listening for the Father, and not have a problem. Either pinball me around or put me in a bakery. And either one's totally cool, and I can serve you, but you do have to be listening for the Father to do that.
Yeah, so like boil that all down. Our number one responsibility is pursuing a love relationship with the Father. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. Right? You'll figure the sheep in, sheep out thing. You'll hear his voice when he wants your attention. You'll know, like, if you stay in the center of his will, in the center of his backyard, you'll see when he gets up out of the table. You'll hear when he calls your name, right? All the things. And it's some people, like, he wants more conversations with. He invites more. And some he needs to mow the lawn while they're out. But, like, it's also a pushing light into darkness thing too, right? Like, we can't just have a bunch of light getting together and just having light parties, which is mostly the events. That's what the events are, right? It's mostly God's people facing him, worshiping him, seeking him, and, like, yes, it's gonna feel away. All God's people are together doing what heaven is said to be. And so, like, yeah, it should have a shadow feeling of that, but that's not the reality we're living in, and God is pushing light into darkness. And so to the last point where it was like, if God has given you this gift and shown you what freedom and joy look like, you just got to ask yourself, is there any chance that, like, he's not going to use me to try to tell other people about this? That sounds so, like, not like him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That sounds not like him.
Yeah, right. He sent Jesus to die for this kind of thing, and we're like, well, but I don't know if he really wants me about it.
Yeah.
Like, that part doesn't make any sense.
You can tell people good news shining shoes. You can tell good people good news bagging groceries, building houses. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Cutting grass. Like, you can do all of these things. And where the world maybe has put a high emphasis on people who do this for a living or travel around or get speaking engagements or put out albums or whatever. Like, I got to be real honest with you. The integrity of the gospel is shown in everyday living. And, like, you're not, I just can't imagine that God's put you off in the side of the yard to be ignored. That just does not sound like him to me.
Yeah. All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. Hey, maybe you got any thoughts on that conversation? Hit us up on the Live from the Path Bob Eisler complaint line, 515-517-0085. Call or text 515-517-0085. I'll tell you this, I got a different phone probably 8 weeks ago, and I'm unsure whether our complaint line number is working correctly, given on how many entrants into that line I've received since the new phone. And so why don't you just hit me up? You say, look, I hated that show, or what you said was right, or what you said was terrible. Like, just give us some feedback. I'd love to hear from you, and then it'll help me know that technically it's working. In case you have a problem later on, I can respond to it. Or just go check out the old Live from the Path TV and tv.livefromthepath.org. Join, watch with everyone. Do it as a group. Okay, let's give Mike. Let's give some advice.
Okay, ready? Dear Live from the Path, I am 56 years old and have been married for 12 years. I don't want to drive an hour and a half to spend time with my husband's grandbabies. I have done that on many occasions and chose not to do it anymore. I'm not into babies. Or children, for that matter. He continues to ask me to go, and I can't understand why I don't want to. I have no problem with him going. I encourage him to go, but he won't let up on me, and it's driving me away. Am I wrong to prefer not to go?
What? How old did she say?
She's 56.
56?
She does not claim this child as her grandchild. It's his.
Husband's grandbabies.
Like they're married, but they're not.
Yeah, it must be previous relationship babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically this gal's like, I don't want to drive an hour and a half to spend time with my husband's grandbabies. I've done it before. I'm not into babies.
She doesn't understand that he wants to spend time with her during that hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not just the grandbabies. He wants to do it together.
Yeah.
Think of it like a date.
Yeah.
And sometimes he says, I want to go bowling. You don't love going bowling, but you're going to go because he asked you to.
Exactly.
Think of it that way.
Yeah. Men are wired that way. I mean, like, I have this weird thing. Like, haven't had this conversation for years now, but like, I just wanted my wife out in the backyard if I was mowing. It's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm mowing and, I'm not afraid to get hurt. I just want to know you're here. I don't know. And she didn't do it, but but that's a dude thing. I would totally want my wife in the car. Just we can sit and talk and have whatever relationship.
Yeah.
And then it's like, take her to the mall then. Go to the mall. And he's going to go to the grandbaby. That seems weird too, to the grandbaby. But you can figure something else
So
out.
like we're answering the question from her perspective. She seems not happy about this. Like she's angry that he keeps asking.
She needs to love him enough to do this.
Yeah. I suppose like if she's looking for someone to say, here's how you tell him so that he'll stop asking.
Yeah.
If you were to think of yourself just a little bit less and go, boy, even though I've kind of made it clear that I don't want to do this, it seems really important to him. You should probably react to that.
Yeah.
I mean, marriage. Listen, what a gift that someone has told you how to make them happy, right?
By being with you.
By being with you, right? Like he says, the thing that would make me happy is if I was with you. Now, we're going to go visit the grandbabies. I know you don't love this. Maybe like you're done with kids. It's like someone being done with dogs. You're like, I'm to the age. I don't care about no dogs. You know what I'm saying? So like, she seems a little young to be done with the grandbabies unless she was never a kid person anyway, Yeah. But like, I mean, come on. Like someone has been honest with you, told you this makes me happy. And like, do you know how many married couples are just guessing on what makes their other person happy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You try something, you're like, nope, that's out. I tried this thing. I thought it would make it. No, that's not where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy has taken back the veil and said, here's the key to my heart. Go visit these grandbabies with me. And you're like, blech. I won't go. You suck.
Do you know how many hours I spent in a really hot, stuffy pool watching my daughters compete in swimming? Was I enjoying it? No, not a bit, not an ounce, except for the 27-second, race.
Yeah.
But you did it because that was so important to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you just do it.
My whole family, I swear, the whole family is rejuvenated at the thought of spending time on a beach.
Oh.
I would take a kebab to my nose, to my nostrils. I do not enjoy the beach at all. But you know where we often go? The freaking beach. Because they love it there. And here's the thing. They would go, well, where do you want to go? And you know what I really like? Like at the end of the day, I love it when my family is real jazzed. so I go, let's do the beach then.
Yeah.
And they know I don't love it, but like I would do it for them because them happy makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so like to Mike's point, you've been given a great gift, and for some reason you seem very upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, get over it.
Don't
Lady.
be a selfish turd.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what Secular says. Has it occurred to you that your husband may not want to drive an hour and a half to visit the grandbabies any more than you do?
What?
Oh, he may need you for backup. Sometimes in a marriage, we do things for our partner that may not be our favorite pastime, but we do it for love.
I really hate the grandkids. Will you come with me and save me?
Now I feel bad for the grandkids. Both of them don't want to hang out with their grandbabies? Come on. It says you should not have to make the pilgrimage every time your husband does, but the nice thing to do would be to accompany him more times than not, and do it with a smile.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of got to the same spot. What a weird assumption is like, you know what I think is most likely going on? You both hate the kids.
Yeah. Everybody at your house hates babies.
Gosh.
You know what? Nothing lights my wife up like knowing she's about to do something with the grandkids.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times I'm like, I'm kind of tired, and I'm kind of like, I'd rather stay home and be alone and not do anything. And she's like, I told them to come over and spend the night. I'm like, but then I have to adjust myself. But I love them.
Yeah.
And I love her. And it's just like, and we have a great time.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes, everybody has a selfish moment, but get over the selfish moment and love your family.
It is so every time my wife has said like something will happen or somebody in our span of people, and she's like, we need to go over there. I'm like, they don't even want us there. Like, I'm sure of it. There's this big, huge thing happening. Like, they're going to have to give attention to us. And like, I'm thinking from my own experience, I'd be like, look, I know you love me. Go away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I always think we're a burden. And like, she has always had this from the Jesus, a discernment on when it's time to go visit somebody and when it's time to stay out. Except for 98% of the time, it's we're going. And I'm like, and every time we go, we should have gone. It was always right. It's our family motto. Foos always show up. It doesn't matter. We got nothing to offer. We're just going to show up.
Yeah.
And like, it never fails.
Yeah.
And like, this gal is just like, Pooh, what are you going to sit at home watching Designing Women with me? We're going to call.
She's like 56. She's not 86.
Yeah.
Like, the age was wild to me.
Yeah.
Who doesn't find joy in babies? Come on.
Yeah. I don't know. You're a cold-hearted wretch.
Yeah. Okay. Our advice is you need to meet Jesus to get some joy in your life.
That's
and
right.
then babies will feel like a blessing to you, like quivers in an arrow.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to love the babies, but you do have to love your husband. So you're going.
Dude, you can like talk about the kids on the way home if you want to. It'd be like, man, that kid has got so much boogers in his nose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a factory. Okay, here we go. Dear Live from the Path. Sorry. My husband is serving a life sentence with the possibility of parole. He turned himself in a year and a half ago for a crime that happened 15 years ago. I met someone 7 months ago. This man is involved in his church and has a ministry in which he feeds the homeless. I'm not sure at this point what our future holds. I feel so guilty at times. Please help. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Oh. Okay.
This
here's
guy's
what-
a saint. The other one's in jail. So she's already justifying her emotions.
yeah, I tell you right now, this man is not representing Jesus to you.
Well, now here, actually, is it possible she's seeing an opportunity that this man is not? He's not trying to get with her. She just sees it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Based on this question,
She's got a vacancy,
Yeah.
a vacuum, and she's
Yeah.
trying to fill that space.
Okay, so let's start this way. She's in a tough spot, but not for the reason that she thinks. Like, for sure, to be married to a dude, find out that 15 years ago he committed some sort of crime of which he's going to get put away forever, and then he turns himself in. Like, obviously there's some deceit in this guy's life, but like, that doesn't say anything about they may have had a normal and nice marriage or whatever. It's certainly it's a tough roll of the dice.
Yeah.
For sure. And like that presumes there's not all kinds of other red flags that you should have picked out. Maybe there was. And so that does stink, because now where you had a view of your life to have a committed partner who was going to be with you through all the times, now you basically got an anchor on your ankle here. You can't do anything else, and you're tied to this man who's in prison.
She's wanting to be one of those 20 people who come to you and say, God is telling me
God
to
told
leave
me.
my husband.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm going to say I recognize that whatever future or view of what your life was as you aged and something, probably this wasn't the scenario you were expecting.
This is hard, fellas.
Yep.
It's not. This is difficult to me.
Yeah.
Like here's what I would. This is a terrible assumption, but if you did something that warranted a life sentence, odds are you've cheated on your wife. I just feel like you. I feel like you've committed something. For
At least in
grounds
prison.
of divorce.
Yeah.
But like the fact that God may have. That's the thing is like this is the backyard. Listening to the Father's voice. You shouldn't have been married to this dude at all. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't. It's just so difficult. Like if a gal was going to come to you and said, "I turned out my husband murdered a man, and he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I'm 22 years old. What do I do?"
Mm-hmm.
And like our advice is, hold tight. This is difficult.
I'd honestly would have to put more thought.
It's a
into
hard word,
what
I think.
would really say.
Because I don't think it's quite that easy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Okay. Well, so the question is like, in the presence of hard questions, are there any easier questions you can answer? So the thing that I would be fairly confident in, slam dunk as a matter of fact, is that regardless of whatever decision it is not a decision to make 7 months in. Or a year, even a year and a half in, probably even like 3 years in. Like, it's the same reason why you should probably be real cautious about dating after your spouse dies, even though you're used to this pattern of life. Like, you run the risk of making a mistake because there's just so much going on. You're just not in the headspace to be making these types of commitments and to be thinking about these types of things. And so sometimes maturity isn't a situation. It's like it's not a person. It's like a situation. You have to mature into a situation of a thing. Oh, what the heck happened?
Do you think Barabbas's wife was kind of upset? She's like, finally got rid of this hate, and then all of a sudden they're like, Barabbas. And they're like, no, dang it.
I could see that actually. Yeah. So like you have to acclimate to big situations like that, and so I just can't imagine that you're in the headspace to even think through some of the complications of this or what you really feel. Probably for I don't want to put an exact time, but I'd say at least 3 years before you come to any even start talking seriously about any of this kind of thing. I just think it's a risk for you.
Just in covenant wise, I mean, like, at what point? I mean, this one's not covered in Scripture. It's not like, well, if your husband is unfaithful and he's in jail, or he's in jail, then you're free. Like that's a tough one to really look at. What I don't know. I don't know how to answer this one.
Yeah, so like you're right. Some of this does get to like, how do you think about like divorce justification and stuff? Like, is it only cheating, or like, again, this is where
abuse,
you get into those types of situations where like I think I would be prayerful in that, but I also wouldn't. I'd be careful about trying to come to the conclusion on your own. This is probably something to pray through. But yeah, I would say at the very least, there's too much to sort out in too short of amount of time. I would definitely wait. I would say serious consideration in this area requires like ongoing prayer. Like, it's because here's the thing: you haven't even had a chance to acclimate to what it looks like to this man that you're married to. And like some of this may be reacting to what is your social or practical situation, not your relationship or covenant type of situation, your marriage situation. And so, and frankly, it is very difficult to be married to a man who's in prison for life and then run into a dude who seems to have his crap together, is serving homeless people. Like, the grass is totally going to look greener, and it probably is. You know, that's not a blindness. It probably is.
Did it say how old she was? Were they young or middle aged?
No, Mike says it doesn't say.
Okay. It was confusing that with the last one. I thought she was in their 50s. Yeah, so we don't even know how long they've been married. Or I mean, the crime was a while ago. Like, did his conscience finally just like, I've got to admit this, or did it look like he was going to get caught? Yeah,
right.
I don't know if that matters.
There's not near enough detail to know whether like this dude met Jesus is like, you know what, I've done the crime, I'm going in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no detail of like he was on the lam, and then they finally were going to
I
get
was
him.
out
He's
feeding
like,
the homeless.
Ooh, okay. Actually, what becomes interesting is that, like, if you change the situation, I was going to say slightly. I suppose this is bigger than slightly. But, like, let's say your husband was framed. Okay?
Yeah.
The practical implication is that, like, he still got convicted. He's still going to be in jail for life. Does the justification change?
ooh.
That's like, okay, if your spouse suddenly is a vegetable
Right.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
That one feels like a no-brainer to me. I'm like, I'm staying. I'm in.
Yeah, so because like if I think about someone's expectation of their life, and then all of a sudden it can't be that, either because their choice or someone else's choice. Like, hey, like this person's not holding your hand, they're not here to help raise the kids. Like, you don't get any sex. Like, just think of all the things that are the implications of this situation. Does the man's actual culpability in the in that change your practical nature of it? If he was innocent or actually guilty, the practical implication is actually the same. And so that's the risk of making the decision on the practical notion. Is like, now you're saying, if my physical needs or emotional needs or whatever can't be met in this marriage, can I sever it because the man's in prison? Like, that's a practical question. That's different than promises you made related to like ongoing support, sickness and in health type of stuff. And so I think it's totally fair that this is a difficult situation that you're in. But I would be cautious. It looks easier, like black and white, to go, he did a thing, is guilty of a thing, and it has had this impact on you. But I would give, maybe part of the time bit is giving room and space for grace to grow. And I just, like, sometimes we just cut off the situation a little bit early, and that's outside of conversations of whether divorce is even appropriate here. But just like, I think if you put something on paper, there's a finality to it. And like, I do wonder whether that situation is actually what's going on. I think she even mentioned that he's eligible for parole.
Yeah.
And so, but again, I mean, at best, maybe it's 20 years from now. So like, what length of time is all right? If he's in prison for 25 years, you can divorce him. But if it's 15, it's not okay. Like, that's where I think things get real difficult.
Because I think, okay, let's go back to the coma thing. They're in a coma. Does it matter if it's because he was drunk driving in the middle of the night on his motorcycle 4 times the speed limit and hit a tree, or if he fell off he was cleaning out a widow's gutters? Either way, he's still in a coma.
Right.
Or let's say he suddenly has Alzheimer's and doesn't even recognize her. Does that mean, well, you're out? I mean, these are all completely different things, but I think you have to really think through the whole thing and not just, well, he's in jail. It must be
that's true. Because emotionally, you got me, kid. You know what I'm saying? You're like, look, he did this thing, and like, now I'm here holding this marriage, and like it does sound like a plot for an evil fundamentalist church movie. You know what I'm saying? Where the
you're right.
It's just like, you stay with this man forever, or you'll be a harlot. You know what I'm saying? And like, like the emotional will grab you, but like, there are plenty of spouses who like their spouse got sick, or they got a brain injury, and they're not the same person, but they're not dead.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, and we would always go, you love in. You made promises. We're in.
I do like the idea of, like, don't make a decision right now. Just give yourself, hey, I'm not even going to think about this for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then, like, look at it in a more objective way, maybe.
Yeah, I would. And that's, if you think about that, extends very similarly towards, like, even if you find yourself in a situation where you did get divorced, and even there were biblical grounds for having done so, these are not the times to be making fast decisions. There's just so much to sort through. Like, we're not built for that type of separation, for things that God brought together to be rent across like that. And so you got to give yourself time to be in the spot to hear Jesus when he's talking, and to sort out what are very practical and real difficulties and emotions and things that you're going through. And I just don't overestimate how quickly that you can come to that position to be in a place to actually even listen to things God is directing you.
Yeah. And the temptation will be to keep asking for advice until you hear what you want, and you will eventually.
Oh, sure.
So
sure.
you need that time. You need that time to let the dust settle.
Agreed.
Okay, Secular says, this is something I think you should discuss with your incarcerated husband. When you do, explain that you don't think you can live like a widow, possibly for decades. Decide together how you should proceed. However, please remember you have been involved with this new person for a relatively short time, and there's no guarantee that your relationship will become permanent.
I think puts this is going to sound bad. It puts the incarcerated dude in a bit of an unfair position, because like let's just say he's he loves his wife, regardless of what happened in the past. Maybe it is a hit and run or something, and like it's something he regrets and he deserves to be in prison, but otherwise he loves his wife and it was a good marriage. I think if you propose it to it the way that she just said, he'd have to be a real bucket to be.
If you really love me, you'll let me go.
Yeah, because you're in prison. You caused this situation for sure, and so like to frame it that way, what makes him feel like not only a jerk for having caused it, but extremely selfish for saying we committed to each other. I'm actually asking you to stick with me through thick and thin. Even though I caused the thin.
How would you counsel the man? Let's say the man came to you and said, "Listen, I want to divorce my wife so she is not tied to me because of the choices that I have made, and she is free to marry again."
I would generally
same thing. Wait 5 years, bro.
Well, I would say like. There is the realities that you're facing from like a practical human perspective are deeper than just the practicalities. There's a reason that like we don't treat relationships as so as commodities, right? This is what your marriages, they do matter. Even bad marriages splitting up cause difficulty for people. There's a reason it's not uncommon that like you get divorced once, you get divorced 3 times. Like there's actually my wife's preparing. She teaches like a class for like young ladies on how to think about their bodies and sexuality and marriage and stuff from and following Jesus. And like one of the things that she was mentioning, I think over the last couple of weeks, was like things change physically about you when you have sex with someone. Like it's not like we think of it as like it's not just an event that happens and that you are permanently modified in these types of things. And so the encouragement I would say to the guys that like this seems very noble. And from a practical perspective, I totally understand it. The thing I would be cautious of is running ahead of something where God said these things are designed to be permanent, and he was well aware of all the complications that we will throw under the nature of permanency. And so I would be cautious about trying to outthink something that God obviously has a greater understanding, a deeper understanding. Like we are not just exchanging or trading out, hey, we happen to live together, or that we made promises through thick and thin, but we didn't really mean it type of thing. Like there is something, the biblical picture of this is a depth and a connection, the sinews between people of which there are permanent consequences for tearing apart. Even if it feels very practical to you. And so that would be my caution, is that like it's bigger than the problem that you think that you're trying to solve, and I would be cautious about running too far ahead of it.
Okay, you've been listening to Live from the Path on livefromthepath.org. Oh, did I give the secular advice already?
She said talk to the husband in the jail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I wasn't ready. For some reason, I also thought the secular thing was coming. All right. You've been listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We very much appreciate it. Make sure you hit us up on the Live from the Path complaint line. 515-517-0085. Call or text. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know how the show's going. Let us know if you love Live from the Path TV. We're going to be out next week, but we'll probably follow up on the week after. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.
Tremors in the hills, the lion roars loud, echoes in the valley, judgment in the cloud, plowshares turn to swords, the harvest going sour, the merchants wait to see, stacking greed by the hour, the shepherd from Tekoa, no crown, no gold, just a staff and a vision that the heavens foretold, locusts in the fields, fire licking the stream, the plumb line drops straight, no bend in the beam, justice rolls down, mighty as a flood, righteousness flows, purging with the blood, the prophets cry. Vineyard scream ash, the feast turns bitter, bread turns to trash. The rich hoard wealth, poor crushed to the dust. Walls built on lies, foundations of mistrust. You build your ivory towers, sit on gilded thrones, but the Lord sees all, even hearts of stone. Woe to those at ease who sing idle songs. Your palaces crumble, you've been wicked too long. The lion don't whisper, it tears through the air. The Lord won't relent till justice is fair.
This is the perfect pair for your iPhone, and it replaces 3 different chargers. So when I travel, I don't pack extra cables, I don't have to pack extra bricks. This covers my phone, my